I will begin with roll and then I'll turn it over to our acting chair this evening. Barbara Brenneman's absent. Patrick Carrier,
Here.
Michael Gravoulis,
Here.
Matt Hogson has resigned. Inez St. James,
Here.
Marcy Schwartz,
Here.
John Vibert. He hasn't joined us this evening yet. Keith Vibert
Here.
and Scott Halstead.
Here.
And as thank you, everyone. And as I alluded to, per our bylaws, when our chair is absent, the secretary fills in as acting chair. So this evening we have Inez here in the planning and zoning office to lead us through. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, everyone. Welcome. Again, this is Inez St. James. Welcome to Town of Farmington Town Plan and Zoning Meeting, September 27th. All right, so like you stated, Catherine, Barbara is not here today. I would like to appoint Marcy Schwartz as the secretary. Marcy, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you, Inez.
Excellent. And you have the notice?
I do.
Excellent. In addition, we need, because of Barbara's not here, we do need, I would like to have a replacement for Barbara for today's meeting. Keith, it looks like you're next in the rotation. Are you comfortable?
Ready.
All right, awesome. So thank you. So Keith Vibert will be replacing Barbara. Okay, so we did the roll call, meeting started. Marcy, you're on for the legal notice.
Okay, thank you, Inez. Town of Farmington, Town Plan and Zoning Commission. Notice is hereby given that the Town Plan and Zoning Commission will hold an online public hearing Monday, September 27th, 2021 at 7 p.m. on the following application. CLMP Farmington LLC reapplication for change of zone from BR to Special Innovation Floating Zone and site plan approval to redevelop the existing hotel to a mixed-use, multifamily residential / commercial development, allowing for a coffee shop and or restaurant / bar, flex office area, and meeting / event / conference uses located at 15 Farm Springs Road. Newport Realty Group LLC application for change of zone from R40 to SA special permit and site plan for active adult development at lot 8677 Plainville Avenue. Town Plan and Zoning Commission application for text amendment to the zoning regulations, Article 2, Section 14.b.16, tattoo and body piercing studio. Town Plan and Zoning Commission application for text amendment to the zoning regulations to remove Article 4, Section 15, fire protection. Interested parties are encouraged to participate in this online public hearing. The link to this meeting may be found on the Town of Farmington's website at https://www.farmington-CURY/CURY2021. A copy of this proposal is online at https://www.farmington-ct.org/government/town-plan-zoning-commission /public-hearing-documents or by calling the Planning Department at Farmington Town Hall at 860-675-2325. Dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this 13th day of September, 2021. Town Plan and Zoning Commission. Barbara Benjamin Chair, but Inez St. James.
Thank you so much, Marcy. Well done. Thank you.
Harder than it looks, I'll tell you.
I know. All right, so we do have some new business items before the public hearing. The first one is a sign application for property at 782 Farmington Avenue. All right, and Catherine, who's presenting for us?
Darcy, are you on the line?
I sure am.
Great. We are scrolling up to the top of your application, and I welcome you now to present your application to the commission.
Okay, good evening, commissioners. My name is Darcy Roy, as you know. I'm attending this meeting tonight on behalf of National Sign, Philadelphia Sign, and Chase Bank for the property located at 782 Farmington Ave, which is in an FV zone. The Chase wall signs at this location were already approved by TPC, so the signs that I'm discussing tonight are just going to be in addition to those already approved signs. We are proposing a new 4-foot, 2-inch overall height monument sign. The raised logo and lettering is approximately 5.86 square feet, and that is on a 14.3 square foot background. Both faces on both sides of the sign are sandblasted wood panels. The sides and the top will have a stucco finish. The base will be brick, and the brick color will match the building. The sign will be externally illuminated on each side by one low voltage LED light fixture that is on the ground facing up in the center of the sign face. So in addition to this monument, we are proposing a new 2.5 square foot handicapped van accessible parking sign, and two 6.25 double faced do not enter stop DOT signs at the rear of the site off of Backage Road. We are also proposing one 2.3 square foot double-sided non-illuminated freestanding sign directing bank traffic to the drive-up ATM and customer parking. This directional sign will be located at the first entrance into the bank parking lot off of Backage Road as you're taking a right off of Farmington Ave. Above the ATM drive-through lane, we would like to install one 3.1 square foot illuminated ATM lane sign and one 2.1 square foot non-illuminated clearance sign. The background of that illuminated ATM lane sign will be aluminum with routed out ATM lettering, which will illuminate at night along with the arrow. I believe we meet the Farmington Village District Zone Code, given that one, we're proposing a monument sign constructed with natural materials of wood and brick. Number two, the monument sign's brick base that matches the building, and the sandblasted and stucco sign cabinet will reflect the character of the surrounding area and the bank itself. We are proposing external illumination of the monument only, and the internally illuminated ATM lane sign will not be visible from Farmington Avenue as it's located behind the main building in the back of the parking lot. You also can't see that ATM lane sign from Backage Road. It's on the opposite side from the entrance. So I know it didn't go in order, sorry. I didn't go in order with your scrolling, so I hope it wasn't too confusing. All those signs are listed right there on that site plan.
Okay.
If you have any questions as to where any of them are.
Okay, thank you, Darcy. Commissioners, now we'll turn it to you for questions.
Yeah.
Patrick?
It says here that the sign, the sign application states that ground lighting is to be provided by others.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just asking about that.
Yeah, we just don't do that part. We don't install that, so that'll just be installed by somebody else. But that what we're proposing is what will be installed. We just don't do that.
Okay. Yeah, no other questions. That's usually that's something that this commission seems to ask questions about. So I was just wondering if that is just going to come before us again, or is it just going to be left as is? And that's, I guess, for staff.
So yes, staff will typically review any changes to the approved sign plans, sign drawings. So
is that a change?
Well, so you're proposing to have the location of the light here.
Yep,
This is the updated signage that was approved by ADRC.
right.
So there's a monument light, excuse me, a detached light just here at the base.
Yeah. I believe that was part of what went before I wasn't there for that meeting, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But what was originally submitted to the town does show that uplighting. I'm not sure why it's not a part of that package.
Yeah, and I replaced this because there was the newer
Yeah.
one from the commission, but let's just see because there are more drawings in here.
There it is.
Yep, this one has it.
Yep.
So Patrick, that shows where it is.
Okay, yeah, no other question. Now, again, it said that in the agenda review.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it on there and there was no mention of it, so. But that's it for questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike,
No questions, thank you.
Marcy,
Yeah, I guess this is just a general question. Is this in the historic district? And if yes, has it been approved by the Historic District Commission? Is that,
It is in the FCFV zone. This is Catherine Kramer, so it gets reviewed by the Architectural Design Review Committee. They looked at this last week. They had a few tweaks to the sign face, and they have come back with a sign that has been since received a positive referral from the Architectural Design Review Board.
great, okay. Okay, then
I'll get
I-
back to there.
sorry?
No, I just apologize for the screen. There we go.
Oh, okay. No, that looks great. And I think I think it fits and most of them are in the back, so.
Yep.
Not be an issue. Thank you.
thank you. Did John has anything or,
Yeah, he's here.
hey, John, you have any questions about this application?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. How about you, Keith
No questions, thank you.
and Scott?
No questions, thanks.
And this is Ines St. James, and I do not have any questions either. So thank you. Thank you, Darcy. Darcy, is there anything else you want to add or?
Nope, I'm all set, but thank you so much for listening.
Of course. All right. So thank you, commissioners. We need to make a motion and a second.
Patrick Carrier, I make the motion for the sign application from National Sign Group located at 782 Farmington Avenue.
Second,
Is that an approval,
Oh,
Patrick?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, approval, yep.
okay.
Keith Weber, I second.
All right, thank you. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Darcy.
Okay, next one is sign application for property located at 118 Plainville Avenue.
Tracy or Sheila, are you on the line?
You don't see them?
No, so why don't we come back to that one and we'll move forward.
Okay. Next item, new business item is site plan to replace site lighting at 781 Farmington Avenue.
Andrew, I have the application on the screen. You're welcome to present to the commission.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew with the Horton Group. Bank of America would like to replace some of the existing lighting as well as add a few new fixtures. Included in those will be 5 wall mount colonial style fixtures to improve their security lighting for the safety of their staff and customers after hours.
Okay, and anything else or just,
We've gone to great lengths to reduce the amount of lighting, especially at the property line. If you look at the foot candle chart, we're actually very, very low compared to some of our other sites. So this is really just going to be a small improvement and, you know, more of a visual improvement with the new decorative fixtures on the property. Very, very minimal light leak, if any. If anyone has any questions or concerns, please let me know if I can answer them.
Okay, thank you. All right, commissioners. Patrick, you have any questions?
Not right at this moment, actually.
Okay, how about Mike?
No questions, thank you.
Marcy?
No questions. Thank you.
Keith?
I have no questions, thank you.
John?
No questions?
And Scott?
No questions.
Okay. All right, so this is a replacement, right?
So if I don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Andrew, you can see my mouse, right?
Yes.
So if I'm circling around these ones that are looped, UU4 here, 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 these 5 are replacements?
Correct. So those are existing square steel poles with shoebox metal halide fixtures on them. We're going to be adding a gooseneck and the decorative colonial style light pole fixture to those existing poles.
Great. And then these ones, UU2, 1, 2, 3, and this one are new?
Yes, so those are new wall mount colonial style fixtures that'll be on the building.
Yep. And then one new one in the,
That is one new 2x2 fixture on the drive-up canopy directly above the drive-up ATM.
thanks for the clarification.
And that's what
That's,
the
I just wanted to,
application is for. We're good? Okay.
yeah, that, I just wanted it all on the record. Everyone knew what was new and what was being replaced.
Yep, no, that's good. It went by a little fast.
Well,
before.
well, and it's hard with the site plans to see all of the different annotations, so.
Okay, and this is Ina St. James. I do not have any questions either. All right, so we need a motion and a second for this application. Commissioners?
Okay, hang on. All right, Patrick Carrier. I move to approve this, the site plan to replace site lighting by Andrew Ronan. I'm sorry, mispronounced that. Rain one, site lighting at 781 Farmington Avenue.
Second?
Either, I second.
Thank you. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? All right, motion carries. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
And is this prior application, is someone here for Plains Lab?
I don't see that yet. They were on last week for their architectural design review. Okay.
Okay,
Proceed.
all right.
Can come back if they join us at the end.
So the next one is just scheduling a hearing date, correct?
So we accept the, we accept the
okay.
application.
Do I read the whole thing?
Yes.
I probably should. Okay. All right. Back in order. All right. The next application is from JDA Farmington LLC. It's we're accepting an application this evening for a re-subdivision of 784 Farmington Avenue and scheduling public hearing with a recommended hearing date of October 13th, 2021. We need a motion and a second.
I'll do this one again. I'll get better at this, I swear. Okay.
Me too.
All right, I move to accept the application for a re-subdivision by JDA Farmington LLC of 784 Farmington Avenue and schedule a public hearing with a recommended hearing date of October 13th, 2021.
Either, I second.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstention? Motion carries. Thank you. And the last new business item is an application from Eliza Pinette. This evening, we'll be accepting an application for special permit for home business dog grooming at 37 Wolf Pit Road, R20 zone, and scheduling a public hearing with a recommended hearing date of October 25th, 2021. We need a motion and a second, please.
So this is Marcy Schwartz, and I I submit that we accept an application for a special permit for home business dog grooming at 37 Wolf Pit Road, R20 zone, and schedule the public hearing on October 25th, 2021.
Thank you. Second?
Keith Hibbert, I second.
Thank you. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
My eye was for in favor. Sorry, I was late.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. All right. That's it for new business. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. All right. Now we're going to turn it over to public hearings. So the way it's going to work is each applicant will present to the commission. The commissioners will ask questions of the applicant. When that portion is done, we are going to ask the public to ask questions, speak in favor or in opposition. And just a reminder that the presenters, applicant, and members of the public, please state your name for the record and your address. All right, so the first public hearing is for CLP Farmington LLC. It's a reapplication for change of zone from BR to special innovation floating zone and site plan approval to redevelop the existing hotel to a mixed-use multifamily residential commercial development, allowing for a coffee shop and or restaurant, bar, flex office area, and meeting event conference uses located at 15 Farm Spring Road. Now, if this item is familiar, it should be. It came in front of our commission and it was approved, but this is, Catherine, if you can clarify why this is.
Yeah, absolutely. I can clarify before we open it up to the applicant. So for zone changes and text amendments by state statute, the commission must provide an effective date for the application. This was not done for the zone change for CLP Farmington at 15 Farm Springs. So the applicant is coming forward with the same exact application for the same plans for a reapplication to receive an effective date for the zone change and the site plan approval. So at this point in time, I believe Robin is on the line and she can present to the commission what they are looking for, which is what I stated.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Robin Pearson. I am an attorney with the firm of Alter and Pearson in Glastonbury, Connecticut at 701 Hebron Avenue. And I represent the applicant, CLP Farmington LLC, which is the owner of the Marriott Hotel site at 15 Farm Springs Road. Catherine appropriately described the purpose of this application, so it's really quite cut and dry. It came to our attention when we got to the point where I was going to have to give a legal opinion to a lender on the validity of the approval, and we just wanted to make sure that there were no issues. So we've come back with this application for you basically to reapprove it with now an effective date, and we've requested an effective date of October 3rd. All of the materials that you previously reviewed and approved on July 12th, and that includes all of the public hearing testimony that the application underwent, all of the plans, all the staff comments, all of everything that was part of that record is to be considered the record in this matter. Nothing has changed. There are no changes to the plans whatsoever. It's simply a request that you reapprove it. You unanimously approved it on July 12th. And as you are aware, if there are no changes of a substantial nature to an application, should it come back before you for some reason, you really are not in a position, unless you find there are substantial changes, to reverse your decision. So that said, even though this really is a rubber stamp, if you will, it still requires a public hearing. We have sent out all of the appropriate required notices to the abutters within 200 feet. We've posted signs on the property, or a sign on the property at the point where the property, the front of the property is on Farm Springs Road. And we have not received any information or concerns from the public whatsoever. No one testified or appeared at the hearing previously, and it did go over for 2 nights. You have the certificates of mailing as part of the record in this one now. And so with that, and based on, your prior testimony, your prior record, and the fact that we've represented nothing has changed, we ask that you reapprove this application, this time with an October 3rd effective date. And that's it. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Catherine, for clarifying that also. All right, commissioners, Patrick, any questions?
No questions.
Mike,
No questions, thank you.
Marcy,
I have no questions, thanks.
Keith,
No questions. Thank you.
John,
No questions?
Scott, Scott?
Questions?
Okay, thank you. Sorry, you broke up a little bit.
Oh,
And,
okay, sorry.
No, it's all good. Thank you. This is Ines James. I do not have any questions either. Like as it was stated twice now, it's the same situation, that was presented, voted on before. We need to reapprove with the October 3rd date. But since this is a public hearing, we're going to open this up to members of the public. So Catherine, this is where you help me out.
Yep, I'm monitoring the Zoom function. If you would like to make a public comment regarding this application, please raise your hand in the Zoom function, and I will allow you to unmute yourself. This is last call to make a public comment regarding this first public hearing. There are no hands raised at this time.
Okay. All right. I am satisfied with that. So the public hearing is closed on the matter of CLP Farmington LLC. Thank you. All right. So commissioners, I need a motion and a second before discussing or asking any questions or discussing and voting. But I need a motion and a second before we proceed.
All right, Patrick Carrier. I move to reapprove the application from CLP Farmington LLC for a change in zone from BR to Special Innovation Floating Zone. I would leave it at that, right? Because we don't want to
I would leave
Patrick, we need to make sure we state the effective date.
Okay, and then we're, you know what? I lost that part. What is the effective?
October 3rd,
Okay,
2021.
so with the effective date of October 3rd of 2021.
I apologize, Patrick, you broke up. Would you mind restating your motion?
Okay, yep, I'll do that again.
Thank you.
All right. So I move to reapprove the application from CLP Farmington LLC for change of zone from BR to Special Innovation Floating Zone with an effective date of October 3rd, 2021.
Perfect. Second?
Keith Hibbert, second.
Thank you. All right, any questions, any discussion from the commissioners? I guess I'll just go in order again, right? Patrick,
No questions.
Mike,
No questions.
Marcy,
No, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied. Thank you.
thank you. Keith?
No questions. Thank you.
Oh, and that's it, right? Okay, so, all right, so now I guess we vote? Okay. Everyone knows what we're voting on?
Yes.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? All right, we are in good business with October 3rd, 2021.
Great.
Approval date. Thank you. Maybe I shouldn't say it that way, but it's
So
approved.
one moment, we have the zone change approved with the effective date. The site plan was approved previously,
Previously.
but that didn't need an effective date, so we're good. Move
We're
on to
good.
the second public hearing.
Okay, excellent, thank you. All right, moving right along. All right, we have the second, public hearing is from Newport Realty Group LLC. It's an application for change of zone from R20 to SA. Special permanent site plan for active adult development located at 8677 Plainville Avenue. And who do we have presenting?
Mark, are you on the line?
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the commission.
Chris, thank you.
Can I go ahead?
Please, thank you.
Okay, yeah. All right, good evening. I'm Christian Hoeb. My office is located at 314 Main Street here in Farmington. With me are the principals from Newport Realty Group LLC, Mark Lovely and Anthony Valenti. Also, and they're the principals. Also is Andrew Quirk, an engineer, and Scott Hesketh will testify. He's a traffic engineer. Procedurally, the mailing is complete. I should note that with each notice that went to the neighbors, it was coupled with a correspondence from Mark making himself available to answer any questions or provide any information. I'm not aware of anybody contacting him. The maps, plans, reports were timely filed with town staff. I think the most recent update was September 23rd. Andrew can correct me later if I've got that wrong. The sign was posted on the 19th and it's been maintained and the notices were published. I would like to give you a 2-minute summary of this parcel. As you know, it lays in Plainville and Farmington, and it existed primarily as an agricultural for personal use in the 1970s and 1980s, and then it was used to grow and cut hay until the 1990s. The current topography still retains features of that farm use. As an agricultural use, it was essentially clear cut for personal farming use and for hay. In the early 1990s, the farm-related uses were abandoned and the land became somewhat forested and subject to the introduction of invasive species. I know because I walked the property along with the Inland Wetlands Commission and our team for the inland wetlands approval. And it was very viney, lots of poison ivy, a lot of not so nice invasive species on the property. By way of a thumbnail sketch of this applicant this evening, Newport, they enjoy an outstanding reputation within the community, both as to builders and to end users. And I think they've worked very well with this staff and also very well with the Plainville staff, as evidenced by a unanimous vote in Plainville supporting the approval in Plainville. Our engineer in this matter, Andrew, and our team worked very hard with staff. And as usual, and probably as you would expect, Bruce Sear, Shannon Rutherford, and Ms. Kramer were all extremely helpful, assisting and providing us information and feedback. It felt almost like we were streamlined because we got the plans in very early after the Plainville approval, and staff has really been terrific. I think by the end of last week, I think by Friday, Bruce Sear had reduced the engineering comments considerably, really to a true minimum. Again, I'll let Andrew speak to that when he's up. Procedurally, let me just bring you up to date. This spring, the Farmington Inland Wetlands Commission conducted a thorough examination of this parcel relating to the application for regulated activity within wetlands review and upland review area. And they also walked on site as part of their inspection. And on May 26th, the commission issued its approval with conditions. On July 20th, 2021, the Plainville Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously approved 38 units of active adult housing as part of the entire application. I know many of you were not around when this original active adult regulation was ratified in Farmington. I think I may have been. I have to look back into the record and see. I may have been on the commission when it was originally ratified and passed. by my recollection, if I was not on that commission, that I was very familiar with the underpinnings of the zone. And at the time, it was a very stringent regulation in terms of requiring certain components to make it attractive and to fit within the community. And I think it hasn't been changed since then. It's a much more stringent examination than you see in other communities. So the purpose was to allow folks over 55 to find lower maintenance dwelling units, and certainly these fulfill that aspect. For tonight, we're going to perform the initial presentation covering all the salient requirements of the zone change, the special permit, and the site plan. And of course, we'll be available at the end for questions from the commission and to respond to the public. And so Andrew Quirk is going to, who's our engineer, is going to speak first. He's going to discuss the site plan. He's also going to talk about the architecture, and Scott Hesketh will talk about the traffic. And I'll conclude with a probably not as exciting, but very important criterion and requirements of a zone change and a special permit, which are similar. All their testimony could be supported by Tony and Mark, who are present in case we miss something or they want to provide more information to the commission. So now I'm going to turn it over to Andrew Quirk, who's here. I think I saw him. Andrew, are you? Yeah, there we go. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chris, for the introduction. Again, Andrew Quirk, professional engineer and principal with Kratzer Jones and Associates. And as Chris had talked about, I'll be going through the survey mapping, the site plan layout, get a little bit into some of the utilities, drainage, and the details of the landscaping. And then at the end, be happy to take any questions. I guess just for pragmatics, Shannon, if you want, I could do a screen share, or I can walk you through which sheets I think are appropriate for the presentation, whichever way is easier or better from the town standpoint.
Hi, Andrew. This is Catherine here. I have this cover sheet right here. If you want to walk through this set.
That's fine. I have color aerials as well. If there's a screen share or.
No, we're not going to be screen sharing this evening. It's for control purposes.
Sure. So on the second sheet, I guess it would be page 150 there, just for the commission's information. Those are the approval letters, both from the Farmington Wetland Commission, and it does describe those conditions, and as well the approval through Farmington, which I think there was only one condition on that, was a detail of the phasing plan. So those approvals and those conditions have been incorporated into the latest plan set and those approval letters on that sheet. To begin, on the next page, sheet B1 is the existing property as was described. The total property is 25.66 acres. It straddles the Farmington Plainville line, which is shown diagonally across the property. There are 12.63 acres in Farmington, so almost an equal split. The hatched area to the right or northeast portion is the area that was delineated as inland wetlands, and the flags located by our survey. And then outside of that is the 100-foot upland review area. We did already receive approval from the Wetland Commission, and that was for the one activity in the wetlands itself is a minor crossing off-site. It's actually not even on this property, but just towards the top for a sewer connection to Laurel Lane. The sewer connection comes right through that portion, and just caught the end of the wetlands, and certainly was within the review area that required a permit. So we received that permit. All the other activities are generally outside of the 100-foot upland review area. I'll get into it more with the site layout plan, but there was also a condition of that approval that, in addition to the open space being controlled by the homeowners association, that an easement be granted to the town for the open space area, including the wetlands and all the surrounding area, just to give that area further protection in addition to the protections of the homeowners association, that the town could also step in to ensure that that area remains protected. Going down, I believe, two more sheets. would be sheet S1. I believe one more page down. Oh. Yes, so sheet S1 is the overall site layout and landscaping plan. So this page gives you the best overall basic view of the development, which would have access from Route 177, Unionville Avenue in Plainville. So the only vehicular permanent access to the site would be through Plainville. That roadway network would then cross the site in a way that works well with the grades and for aesthetics in a curvilinear fashion across from west to east on the property to a cul-de-sac, which is in the lower right portion. There's a turnaround area there. Then there is an emergency access. So this would not be your standard access, but just in cases of an emergency that would connect also to Plainville. And then to the top right portion, there's a small clearing that's for the sewer access. Again, that's only for sanitary sewer. It's not for vehicular access. So all the permanent vehicular access will be through the state highway. We've already started contact with them, and our traffic engineer, Scott Hesketh, will go through that in more detail as far as the vehicular access. The site would be fully landscaped, the areas that are cleared with street trees. There'll be a street tree in uniformity with Plainville standards every 60 feet on each side of the road. And there's street trees with a variety of trees that meet the street tree requirements for shade and for aesthetics. Also, we did get into the details of the shrub plantings around the foundation. And there's a large buffer area along the north property line that's to be retained, as well as natural vegetation within the development between the different phased areas. On sheet S2, this is in a little bit more detail than S1, where we get into the regulations. On the plan, you'll see both, again, the Plainville and the Farmington regulations, but specific to Farmington with the zoning table, you have many specific regulations. And so what we did is we included the text verbatim from the regulations and then provided the answers right on the plan. So it was clear that we were meeting each of the zoning regulations, and then we summarized that in the zoning table. Again, the Farmington portion is 12.63 acres. There are 23 units proposed in Farmington, whereas 44 are allowed. We have 16% impervious, where 40% is allowed. And then there's some other architectural and separation requirements that we also meet, including a minimum of 22 feet between the units. All the units will have a 2-car garage. Also outside of the 2-car garage would be the ability to park 2 cars outside the garage. We didn't count that towards the parking table, but there's that ability to also park 2 cars outside of the garage. And then we provided 9 visitor spaces. So 46 spaces are required, and we're providing 55 between the garages and visitor parking areas. Also, we do have that north buffer area that we have identified to preserve the natural vegetation per your requirements. That's 1.1 acres there that will be held by the Homeowners Association as a natural vegetated buffer. And then in addition to the 1.1 acres, there are 5.4 acres on the east that will be held again by the Homeowners Association, and an easement deeded to the town to protect the wetlands and all the area around that. So that totals of the 12.63 acres in Farmington, 6.5. So just about half of the area will be preserved as open space within the Homeowners Association. And then again, that 5.4 acres that also has the deed to the town for protection. Also in your regulations, item 19 talks about using these buffers and landscaped areas and vegetation areas to try to create a community feel and a community walking trail system. So we have outlined on this system, there'll be on all the private roadways, there'll be a sidewalk on one side that provides a walking network along the streets. And then in addition to that, we created a perimeter loop network that provides a 1 mile walking trail system. And that also goes out to an interesting old farm crossing. There's a brownstone crossing in the wetland area. We spent a lot of time with the Wetland Commission looking at that. It's an interesting feature and would be a nice part of the hiking trail. And thank you for tracing the trail there as it goes through the site. It's a combination of the sidewalks and nature trails that create a 1 mile loop. And there'll be a dedication plaque near the entrance to the Keller family to name the trail and continue that name through the trail system. The on sheet G1, excuse me, is the overall grading plan, and it shows the phasing. I won't go too much into detail of the grading and the utilities, but just want to point out that in addition to the 23 units in Farmington, there are 38 in Plainville. Phases 1 and 2 are entirely in Plainville. And phase 1 has all the utilities also from Plainville. So that's really a separate independent phase from, completely separate from the Farmington application. Phase 2, all the homes are in Plainville, but the sewer access will be through Farmington. We've worked very closely with town staff on the sewer access, and like we said, we've already received the wetland approval and the intertown agreement for the sewer service to the Plainville residents. Phase 3 has nearly all but 5 units are in Farmington. There's a few units on the cul-de-sac area that are in Plainville, but with the road system there, we've included it as part of phase 3. And then same for phase 4 towards the northwest. That's about half in Plainville, half in Farmington. The phases are really important in terms of clearing. One of the conditions that the engineering department put on this is that only one phase is to be cleared at a time. We've noted that on the plans. It helps, of course, for controlling the amount of exposed soil, erosion, the staging, drainage, and that implementation. We expect all 4 phases to be completed with around 3 years, 3 to 4 years, typically about a year per phase, maybe a little bit faster than that. So 3 to 4 years for completion of the project. We've worked very closely with town staff on the stormwater management plan. Within each phase, there is a rain garden system, which provides aesthetic value in terms of the plantings, pollinator abilities. We've got detailed landscaping plans for each rain garden that helps for water quality, low impact development, but also provides some attenuation in the peak runoff. All the drainage will be conveyed then down to a stormwater basin in the far southeast corner of the property. And we meet 0 increase in runoff through the 100-year storm event, the 2-year through the 100-year storm event through that combination of rain gardens and the stormwater basin. Again, we've worked very closely with town staff. I don't want to speak for staff, but I think as of Friday, we were down to really just a couple technical notes in terms of just notes that need to be worked on together with staff in terms of the sewer connections, some notes regarding some of the phasing. But I think really we were down to just some minor details. It was a very thorough review, both at the wetland stage and through this planning and zoning stage. And I think we've been able to complete and satisfy all those comments and work with town staff. I will just briefly go through the architecture as well. I don't know if that's included in the same PDF. It might be at the end.
They were in here.
It might be a separate PDF. I think that's, yeah, that's all the traffic information. Well, we're proposing 3 different styles of units. We've labeled them as unit style A, B,
Yeah,
and
it was in this. That was right before this plan set. I thought it was at the end. So. I thought I reorganized it so they were in order. but I didn't touch this one.
That's all the drainage information.
Yeah. Somewhere. It's in here.
It's definitely a long drainage report.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that went into this.
Comprehensive.
Now we have traffic.
And that's traffic. Yeah.
Is it what you said today? No, that was traffic.
No,
That
that's a
was,
different one.
comps.
Here it is.
Oh, there. Yep. There
Sorry
it
about
is.
the delay, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
It's a comprehensive package.
So we have 3 unit types, house plan A, B, and C. They all have first floor master bedrooms. They're all at least 1,400 square feet. There's, in addition to the unit types, there'll always be a variety of color and styles. They'll never be the same color that can be allowed on 2 adjacent units or 2 units across the street from each other. The largest is house plan C. We also have, of the 23 units, I believe 8 of those are also walkout units with walkout basements. They all have a full basement per your requirement that requires either a full basement or an attic. They have both. They're all 2-car garages, a lot of modern amenities. They're all 3 bedrooms. That's really more not because of the occupancy. You have in your regulations the requirements of the occupants to be over 55 or a family member over 21. But we find that the additional bedrooms are used more as like a study or a den or things of that nature, but they are labeled as bedrooms. But very nice large units that have been very successful in other towns and have sold well. And I would expect the same for this project if it moved forward. And with that, that would conclude my portion of the presentation. And I think next would be Scott Hesketh to discuss the traffic.
Certainly. Hope everyone can hear me. Good evening.
Good
Good evening.
My name is Scott Hesketh. I am a traffic engineer in the state of Connecticut, the firm of F.A. Hesketh and Associates. And we did submit a traffic report dated April 21st, 2021, which is now up on screen. We were asked to take a look at the potential traffic impacts of this proposed development. In order to do that, we did review traffic volume count data from the state of Connecticut. We also conducted manual turning movement counts out at the intersection of Route 177 and Maxine Road. Due to the COVID situation, we ended up relying on 2015 traffic volume counts from the DOT, as the most recent counts from the DOT were taken during the COVID conditions. So we used the 2015 count data and grew that at a 1% per year growth rate to reflect 2022 traffic volumes, and adjusted that based on the manual turning movement count percentages that we observed out in the field. DOT did not have any traffic volume counts on Maxine Road, so we did increase the traffic volumes on that roadway by 20%, which was the basically the difference between the 2015 and the 2020. I mean, our observed traffic counts and the 2015 traffic volumes. So we believe we have a good handle on the background traffic volume conditions out in the study area, and all that information is presented in the report. In order to generate the traffic volumes from the proposed development, we looked at the Institute of Transportation Engineers trip generation report, standard engineering reference, which allows us to estimate traffic volumes for proposed developments based on traffic volume counts conducted at existing operating facilities. The development here is a 61 unit age restricted housing development. And based on the ITE, we project that the development would generate about 380 trips on a daily basis, with 190 entering and 190 exiting. And the peak hour volumes would be approximately 29 trips during the morning peak hour and 34 trips during the afternoon peak hour. We took that traffic and distributed to the roadway network with the distribution of about 55% to and from the south and 40% to and from the north, and approximately 5% to and from Maxine Road. Based on that, we conducted capacity analysis calculations at the intersection of 177 and the site driveway. Information is summarized in table 3 of our report. Based on the trip generation numbers and the distributions we just presented, the northbound and southbound approaches of Route 177 would operate at level service of A during peak hours. The Maxine Road approach would operate at a level service D, as in David, during the morning peak hour, and a level service E during the afternoon peak hour. And our site driveway approach would operate at a level service F during both peak hours, with delays in the range of about 63 seconds in the morning and 150 seconds in the afternoon. And that's based on the volume of left turning traffic, which we've presented in the report. Obviously, if more people make a right-hand turn, the levels of delay would be less. On the site plan, you would notice that we had proposed a single lane approach to Route 177. I know that the town staff had suggested that perhaps a 2-lane approach would help to reduce those delays. It's been our experience with the Department of Transportation that they prefer a single lane approach at an unsignalized intersection, and that's why we have proposed it that way. We have submitted to the Department of Transportation. They are currently reviewing the application. They've made some preliminary comments to us, and they did not make any recommendations as to adding an additional lane egressing the site. But and that intersection is in the town of Plainville, and it is under the jurisdiction of the Department of Transportation. So if they make a recommendation to go with a 2-lane approach, we'll certainly be happy to provide that in accordance with the town comments. But we believe that they will be looking for the single lane approach. There doesn't seem to be a significant history of accidents out in this section of the roadway. At least accidents that could be addressed by any improvements related to this development. One of the comments that the DOT did suggest was that we provide a southbound bypass capability on Route 177 for left turns into the site. That would require a widening of the roadway to about a 20-foot half section. And that way, if someone's slowing down to make a left-hand turn into the site, that the through traffic can safely bypass them on the right-hand side and continue without significant delays. Now, there already is a bypass capability in the northbound direction for Maxine Road. So it may end up that we will be looking at either a bypass capability or perhaps the ability to stripe opposing left turn lanes at the 2 approaches. But that is something we will be working out with the DOT during our review. So based on the information in our report, we believe that the local roadway network can safely accommodate the traffic volumes from this proposed development. We do understand that there will be some delays during peak hours related to left-hand turns out of the development, which is not unusual for town roadways and private driveways on Route 177 in this area. That's a synopsis of my report. I'll be happy to answer questions at the appropriate time. And at this time, I will turn the microphone back over to Attorney Hoab to complete our presentation.
Thank you, Scott. I'd like, members of the commission, I'd like to take about 5 minutes to go through the criterion and standards as described in section 12B of your Farmington regulations as they apply to a zone change and a special permit. I know that you're all very familiar with these standards, but I want to apply it, of course, to the facts of this application. So the first one is that the existing and future character of the neighborhood will be protected. And I think it's noteworthy that there'll be no through traffic. There's no egress into Farmington directly. It's in Plainville. So the Farmington neighborhoods will not be impacted. There's plenty of buffer around the entire application. It's of course residential lighting, and I don't see any possibility for any noise to be created. I should note that the waste removal will be by a private contract, so the association has control over the hours. It's not necessarily like a town where they come in really early, and so I feel pretty comfortable representing that the character of the neighborhood will not be impacted. The next is the adequate safeguards have been taken to protect adjacent property from detriment. Well, other than the initial construction, the surrounding Farmington neighborhood and streets will have little or no contact. While there's some walking paths that I presume could be accessed, there will not be any motor vehicle traffic. And there is the emergency exit, but that is not going to be open except as available to the municipal emergency services. So again, I don't see any real impact. Next is the traffic circulation within the site and the amount and access to parking is adequate. Well, you've heard our engineer discuss parking being adequate. I should note that the design of this follows a lot of the topography. It's actually fits extremely well. And I want you to note that these roads are curvilinear. They're not a grid pattern. They're very much a New England feel. And I think that supports the adjacent neighborhoods in that it creates, again, more of a New England or rustic feel in terms of the appearance of the entire application. Next is the road network to include intersections will be capable of handling the traffic generated. Well, again, the entrance and exit are in Plainville. You should also note this is an active adult community. So there'll be less people in the units and very probably you won't have teens and you won't have school buses probably. And active adult over 55 has typically a different schedule than folks that are younger who have to get to work at a certain time. So there's a return from work and a leaving for work. These, I would suggest, have different, people over 55 have a different kind of rhythm in terms of traffic. I'm paraphrasing the next one, that the basic design between the land and building and the design are in general harmony with the character of the surrounding neighborhood. Well, I've driven around this entire surrounding neighborhood, and I actually love the design of these proposed houses. They're A, B, and C. I think they're really interesting architecturally, and I think they are in an excellent relationship with the land use itself. So it's noteworthy this is an R20, and our density really is not substantially different than what's available to us from an R20. Finally, all public services are available. Well, they are. You heard our engineer testify as to that, and we have that private waste removal. So I'd submit to all of you that we've satisfied the criterion of the special permit and the zone change. I should note, and I think it's often introduced at these hearings as can be important, that I think this application, my interpretation is it's consistent with the plan of development as amended. One, it calls for medium density, and that's what this is. And there was also an acknowledgement in the last amended update, which ratifies the prior plan of development, but it updates it to say, hey, we know we have people aging in Farmington, and we need housing and apartments and similar availability for people that are getting older in town. And so again, I would submit that this is consistent with the plan of development. And I personally think this is a really strong application. I think at this point, unless Tony or Mark, you have anything else you'd like to suggest, I'd like to turn it back to the commission and ask if there are any questions, and then make it available to anyone in the community.
Okay.
So, Madam Chair, I leave it to you.
Thank you very much. And the information was comprehensive for sure. Thank you. You covered everything. All right, commissioners, time for questions if any. Patrick?
What kind of lighting is like site lighting? The plan obviously is hard for us to see on the, it's small on the screen, but can you go through the lighting?
Yeah, Andrew Quirk, again, the engineer. That's an excellent question. We're proposing lighting that's shown on the roadway plans along the private roads. And there is a detail on sheet D2, which is quite a few pages into the set. I think it's 8 pages from the last page of the plan set. Sheet D2 shows a colonial style lantern, street type lantern. I believe I think it's a couple pages up from that, sheet D2. And on the right side, it shows the type of fixture that's to be mounted on poles, similar to what you'd find on public streets, but a colonial style lantern.
And somebody must have gone through it, for light pollution and all that.
Yes, that was part of the review, yes.
Okay, thank you. And then another question is the emergency entrance. Is that something that's maintained in terms of snow in the winter?
Well, first, it's a grass paver entrance. We have a detail that shows actually that's also on sheet D2 there in the middle of the sheet. It shows the plastic units that have a stone base material to support the loading of the emergency vehicles, but then are overfilled with topsoil and seeded to look like a grass area. So aesthetically, it'll be look like a grass area, but have the ability to withstand emergency vehicles passing over it. Yes, the intent is that it would be plowed, and we did go through that with Plainville, and it would be the homeowners association that would be responsible for the plowing because these are private roads. So it would be the homeowners association that would plow up to the intersection in Plainville. And then there's a gate that's shown at the property line. And then one of the comments from your staff that was a good comment was to put a sign at the location in Plainville that it's emergency access only, although the gate is at the property line.
Okay. And my last question is on the walking trail, the walking path. What is that asphalt or is that gravel? What is that? I know that you have the sidewalk and then there are sections there's one section at least that goes in between the houses and then one that goes back behind there. What is that made out of? I'm just curious.
Sure. Yeah. So we actually have 3 different materials for the walkway system. Along one side of the roadways is a concrete sidewalk. We've got that shown with a concrete detail. Within the development itself, the sections that connect from the roadway, but off the roadway system to the next roadway, those would be a stone dust type system, graded and then covered with stone dust. So it's got a material that can be used and stable. And then the portion in the wetland area would be a nature trail. So that would just be hardwood bark mulch, a very more natural walk system in that area. So 3 different materials.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, no more questions for me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mike?
No, I think the presentation and Patrick's questions just answered most of mine. And you guys are comfortable with adhering to the remainder of the engineering comments for approval?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm all set.
Thank you. Marcy?
Yeah, I guess because Patrick just brought up an interesting question is how wheelchair accessible are either the units and the walking path? And, the actual getting in and out of the bathrooms and up into the apartments from the garage?
Great question. We're showing on the grading plan that there's each of the garages can be modified to have a ramp section in the back as well as a ramp to the front door. So all the units can be made accessible. They're ranch style units where all the living space is on the main floor. And with those modifications and the size of the garage, they can be made ADA accessible. And the bathrooms are also designed large enough to be ADA accessible.
The door, all of the doorways and halls are wide enough?
I believe so, yes. I can confirm that, but I believe that's the case as well with the doorways and the hallways as well. I do know in the other developments where we've used these units, they have been modified with the ramps to be ADA accessible. They certainly can be made ADA accessible.
Okay. And then on the traffic report, I just had questions about it. He sort of went back and forth between 177 and then a named roadway, and I didn't know what the named. So is there only one entrance or is there more than one entrance in and out of there? complex.
Just Scott Hesketh, the traffic engineer. There's only one access to the site, and that is the main site driveway to Route 177. It's
Okay.
located opposite an existing town roadway called Maxine Road. And that's
Okay.
the other roadway I was referring to.
Referring, but there will be no light on the road at all. It's a state highway, so,
That's correct. It'll be an
Right,
unsignalized driveway. Yep.
okay, all right. Didn't know what that was. Thank you. It's really hard to read any of this, I must say, as they come across, but thanks. That's good. I'm all set.
Thank you, Marcy. Keith?
I have a question that might be sort of out of left field. I was just on the notes from Inland Wetlands. They had made a remark that they wanted you to set up a.
Oh, you're
You're
muted.
muted.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to read what I was saying before I said the wrong thing. I'm using the space bar mute thing, so I screwed myself up. But they wanted you to implement a lawn pest management system. And I was wondering, is there a specific concern there, or were they looking for you guys to do something environmentally friendly, or where did that note come from then? Is that just, and I guess I could defer to town staff. Is that a standard note that they put in there?
Integrated pest man, that's standard. That's fairly standard for inland wetlands for water protection.
Okay, cool. I hadn't seen one like that before. I appreciate the feedback.
Yep.
All right. John?
So I have no questions. I would just make a comment that this looks like exactly the sort of neighborhood the regulations are intended to set up for active seniors. Thank you.
Thank you. And Scott?
So thank you. I know traffic is always the top concern in Farmington. And I may have missed it. The traffic studies seem to focus on this area right outside the development. Does it take into consideration anything like the major intersections like 177 and Route 6, or even up into Unionville, and the impacts that it could have on those?
Scott Hesketh, again, based on the trip generation that we're projecting here of 29 and 34 peak hour trips, and the directional split of approximately 50-50 in both directions, the traffic volume thresholds to analyze other intersections in town was not met. So we're looking at perhaps 15 trips at either one of those signalized intersections during peak hours, which is 1 every 4 minutes, which would not be a significant impact to those locations. So they were not included in the study as submitted.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. And again, this is Ines St. James. I guess, Catherine, did we as a town receive any calls on this project?
We did not receive any letters or calls in favor or in opposition to this application.
Okay. All right.
Sandy, you can confirm that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't receive any.
Okay, great.
Yep.
And then nothing major, but so 4 phases. But when will this project? What is the plan for the inception?
Tony Valenti with Newport Realty Group, 710 Main Street, Plantsville. Our intent is to, following the appeal period, proceed to our financing and start construction. We hope and plan by before year end. So we'd like to start sooner rather than later.
Okay, very exciting. Okay. All right, thank you. So that concludes the questions from the commissioners. It is a public hearing. Again, as a reminder, for members of the public planning on speaking, please identify yourself with your name and address.
First up, Chris, do you have your hand raised in the Zoom function? Would you
Yeah,
like to?
yeah, thank you. I was reviewing my notes and I did want to, it's in your materials, but I wanted to bring it to the commission's attention that one of the findings that's necessary for approval under your regulations is you determine there's a need for active adult or senior housing. And we submitted a correspondence from July 21st. And I think you could almost take it under judicial notice, meaning you can be aware of the circumstances around you. You probably don't need an expert to tell you that there's a need in Farmington for this type of housing. But again, I wanted to bring it to your attention so that it's a part of the discussion and possibly a finding by this commission. And that's all I wanted to say before we got too much further.
Thank you. And Catherine, I think we saw this today, right? We
Yeah,
received this?
I circulated this to the commission today, so they've received this and it's on the screen for public record and for review. So,
Thank you.
yep, I'm gonna lower your hand, Chris. Is there anyone else who wants to make public comment for at this time? Please raise your hand in the Zoom function and I'll call upon you to make public comment. Right, last call. No hands raised at this time.
Okay, thank you very much for your help. All right, so the commissioners went, we asked for public comment. Yeah, we can close the hearing. So thank you for the
Thank you.
application from Newport Realty Group LLC. All right, we need a motion and a second before discussing any reasons to support or deny this application.
And I'll just jump in again, as this is a zone change, commissioners, we need to set an effective date. I'm just gonna try to help us get in the habit of doing that.
That's true.
And what is the effective date for that now?
So the language our lawyer has given us is you can set a specific date like we did for the previous application, or resolve that the commission approves the said zone change and sets an effective date of 15 days after the publication of notice of a decision. So that is that last little clause in the potential motion under the agenda review. So 15 days after the publication of the notice of decision.
Okay, yeah, you know what, I'm trying to find that here.
All right. Maybe Patrick is making the motion.
Yeah, I guess I'm making a motion. I
All
put
right.
myself on the spot, right? All right, so here we got it. Okay. So I move to approve the application by Newport Realty Group LLC for a change in zone from R20 to SA special permit located at 8677 Plainville Avenue with an effective date of 15 days after the publication of the notice of decision.
Second,
This
Keith
is
did.
Marcy, I second. Sorry, Keith.
No problem.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Was there going to be discussion? I know.
Yes, yeah, yep, opposed? And abstention, well, and then discussion, right?
So that's voting on the first,
Oh, geez, okay, hold on.
no, we're good. So that's, we can pause the voting and do discussion,
Mhm.
or we can continue the voting, and this is the voting on the zone change. So then we'll have voting on special permit
Mhm.
and site plan.
Okay.
Your recommendation is to break it up?
Yes.
Okay, all
And
right,
that's the way Patrick read it with the
Yeah, that's
zone
true.
change
Okay.
first, with
okay,
the effective date.
so let's pause now and talk about the zone change. Any discussion from the commissioners?
So, no.
All right, so Pat, I guess in order?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I think it's,
Yeah,
yeah, so Patrick Carrier, I think it's great. I mean, it's active adult. It's not using any services. You know, I think we need it. So I think it's a great project.
thank you. Mike, any questions, comments?
Nope, just I agree with Pat.
Marcy
No, I think it looks good. I think we need this, so.
and Keith?
No questions.
Awesome, and it's Ines St. James. I think it's very exciting, and I agree where between the location of it and the usage, I think it's a great project for our town in Plainville. All right, so now we can close or vote for the zone change. All right, so we have a motion
We got
and a second. All right, besides me, I think everyone is clear. All right, so we know what we're voting on, the first part. All in favor for the zone change?
Aye.
Right.
Any opposition? Abstention? All right, we're good. Unanimous. So then the next piece, we need a motion for the special permit and the site plan approval. So we need a motion and a second.
Patrick Carrier, I move to approve the application by Newport Realty Group LLC as presented for site plan approval for active adult development located at 8677 Plainville Avenue with the conditions set forth by Inland and Wetlands.
Oh, I think that's okay, right? To write in. Okay, that's fine. Thank you. And a second?
Keith Bibber, I second.
All right. Does everyone know what we're voting on? All right, so all in favor for the special application and the site plan?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? All right. Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you very much. We can move on, Catherine, or?
Yep.
Okay, good.
All right.
Thank
So-
you. All right, so the next item for public hearing on our agenda is from Town Plan and Zoning Commission. It's an application for text amendment to the zoning regulation to Article 2, Section 14B16 for tattoo and body piercing studio. All right,
So this is me.
Yeah,
I
that's
get to,
true.
I
Yes,
get to
thank
present
you.
to you guys this
Nice and
evening.
easy.
So per our conversations back in July, we had an application and a text amendment regarding a tattoo studio at 2 Spring Lane. And there was a lot of conversation about where tattoo studios fit in. And based upon that conversation, it was discussed that as far as a special permit of an allowed use under the C1 zone, that seemed like an appropriate place for it. So under the commission's guidance, I developed a text amendment which puts as tattoos and body piercings as a defined use under that C1 zone, to permit them with the provisions of the general statute, chapter 387, allowing tattoo studios and body piercings with land use restrictions so that no tattoo or body piercing studios shall be permitted within 500 feet of a public school or publicly owned recreational area, public library, child daycare, or place of religious worship or study. The second land use provision is no tattoo or body piercing studio shall be permitted within 1,500 feet of any other tattoo or body piercing studio. These are similar types of provisions that we do on uses like places where you buy wine and beer. So that is where the proposed text amendment includes to put tattoo studios. This would allow Exclusive Inc., the business at 2 Spring Lane, to stay at that location upon their special permit for a C1 for an allowed use in C1 zone. So I'm happy to answer any questions from the commission at this time.
Thank you. All right, Pat?
Yeah, Patrick Carrier. Okay, so Exclusive Inc., this would allow them the right to operate. How else does that affect, other parts of town? I mean, obviously, we'd have to go through and kind of, look at where other potential. Have you guys looked at that at all? I guess is my
Yeah, so
question.
I mean, C1 zones, I think you're kind of familiar with where those pop up on our zoning map, but places where you have to get a special permit for a warehouse facility or a health club, you could also come to the commission and get a special permit for a tattoo studio. So it's an allowed use. It's in particular zones that aren't necessarily allowing within our Farmington Village District or Unionville Village District. They're embedded in the town, but a little bit further out from the village cores. So that's where the C1 zone, industrial zone, that's where the tattoo studio and body piercings would fit in, with other uses like these things, bakery, warehousing. So.
Okay, and how hard is it to access like a map that shows us that, like Yeah, I'm kind of familiar, but again,
No, it's fine. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't pull up GIS earlier. Just right here. So you have CR here. And C1 is the purple. So if you look at these areas like along New Britain Avenue, down here between Cook and Main Street. So if you pull up the GIS, you can see that C1 is this purple. So there's a pocket over here, a few pockets over here.
okay. And it is, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, so I see that now. And again, it's special permit. So there's other, right? You have 500 feet. So there's other stipulations in there, 1,500 feet from any other tattoo, body piercing. And of course, it's special permit. So it's something that we
That
review.
would come through Town Plan and Zoning Commission. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. That's it for questions for me.
Thank you. Mike?
No questions. Appreciate town staff for putting this together. I think this is what majority of us were looking for on this. So no questions.
Marcy?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Keith?
No questions. Thanks for all your hard work. This 100% satisfies. I remember the lawyer from Exclusive Inc. was very concerned about tattoos being deemed an adult use and being thrown in with other adult uses, and this completely satisfies
so
that as well.
Yes, Keith, this is separate. This is under the zone rather than under a special category.
Yeah, no, it looks great. I think you guys did a great job on that. Thank you.
Of course.
John?
No questions?
Scott?
No, I'm all set. Thank you for the work.
Excellent. And Inez, and I echo what everything with everyone. I think it's one of those that needed to be updated, right?
Yeah.
And maybe we'll have a chance in the future to start looking at some of these. I know this is more work for you, Catherine and Sandy, but I think this is the way to go, and it's nice and clear. The attorneys weighed in, so good. Thank you for your work. All right, so we have the questions from commissioners. Is there anyone, it's a public hearing, is there anyone on the line that has any questions or comments? Raise your hand, please.
Again, this is a public hearing. Please raise your hand in the Zoom function. There are no hands raised at this point in time.
Okay, so at this point, I will close the public hearing for Town Plan and Zoning Commission for the text amendment for the tattoo and body piercing studio. Okay, so we didn't need a motion.
We need a motion and an effective date
That's right.
because this is a text amendment. We need to make sure that we set an effective date.
Okay. Commissioners, who would like to make a motion with an effective date, and then we'll need a second.
Okay, again, what should the effective date? Should it be read the same way the last one was, or?
Yes, that's absolutely fine with 15 days after the publication of notice of decision.
Okay, I'll give it a shot and I guess we can fix it. All right, so Patrick Carrier, I make a motion to approve the application by Town Planning of Zoning Commission for text amendment to the zoning regulations to Article 2, Section 14B16, tattoo and body piercing studio with an effective date of 15 days after the publication of the notice of decision.
Perfect. And how about a second?
Keith Hibbert, I second.
Excellent. All right, discussion first, or we vote, right? Okay,
Well, if you want discussion, this is the time to have it.
thank you. See, I
You got it, you got it.
Oh my gosh, wow. Right, all right. It's available, right? So it's, anyone, commissioners, excuse me, any discussion on this item?
Patrick here. No, I mean, I think I was happy with the discussion that we just had in the public hearing, so I'm happy with it.
I have one question. Does Exclusive Inc. have to come back in under this now, or are they good to go, or how does that work just for them, that particular case?
So yes, they get to come back in for their special permit under the C1 zone.
Okay.
All right, I think we're good. All right, so let's take a vote, please. So we have a motion and a second. And we're ready to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstention? All right, it's unanimous. Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you.
According to my agenda, the next item is being tabled?
Correct.
Okay, so I don't think anyone is here from the public for that, and it's your presentation.
Yeah, we'll get to that
Anyway.
next meeting.
Okay, do we need to make a motion for that or no?
No.
We're good?
No.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So this is it, all the public hearings were done. There was one new business item that we didn't cover. I don't know if anyone ever called in.
I say we give Sheila and Tracy an option to speak up if they are on the line, or raise a hand if they are calling in. But I don't see
Okay.
anyone under their name or anyone raising their hand under attendees that are trying
Okay.
to present for that application. So
That's fair.
we'll follow up with them and see if they are available for the next one.
Excellent. All right, so Catherine, do you have any updates for us?
Yeah, so I mentioned briefly in the planner's report, Autumn Estates Trail, the town staff was contacted by the property manager at Autumn Estates, and due to repetitive storm drainage damage, it has led to trail maintenance issues, and they're looking to abandon part of their trail. But this trail was part of their approval package, so they are curious as to the perspective of the commission. Town staff has reviewed the conditions of the trail. The part of which they're looking to be abandoned is here in red, so it would be this piece on the outermost edge. They would maintain the blue piece. They would continue to have that. And again, they're looking into this and wondering if there are major concerns from the commission. From the town staff's perspective, they still have their trail. They're just getting rid of a piece of it that's not really working for the site and causing some maintenance issues as well as safety of access. So from town staff's perspective, don't have big concerns about a portion of the trail being abandoned, as they are agreeing to maintain some other sites. So I'm opening this up to see if anyone has comments or.
So it's in the back of their site, right? Plainville Avenue's on the right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so, go ahead.
Sorry, Inez. No, I didn't mean to step on you. I'm sorry.
No, you're so sweet, thank you. No, I was just trying to orient myself, and then who uses this trail? Only residents?
Residents, yeah.
Okay. And then they would probably amend whatever records they need to. their end,
Yeah, we
or-
would use this map as a record of what is continues to be maintained as their trail.
Okay, all right, that's it. I think I don't have any issues with it. I was just wondering if it's open to the public or anything like that. Go ahead, Patrick. We'll circle through all of us, all the commissioners.
Okay, yeah, so this part of the trail, why is this getting washed out? Is it lower in topography, or did you guys come up with a reason why that is?
So let me pull up the India. why it's severe runoff damage from the recent storm is leaving the trail with large gullies, a lot of fallen trees. So it's being just taken over by the elements these days with increased storm and the vast amount of rain we've had this summer, I think has just kind of pushed the needle as far as the need for maintenance of this most outer edge of their trail.
Okay, yeah, so I'm assuming it has something to do with just the way the water goes or whatever. My experience with this is we're actually doing an active adult in Cheshire, and we have a trail like this. I don't know how much they use this trail. I'm assuming if they, I'm assuming the association's on board with getting rid of that. I mean, I would assume that's obvious.
So they came to us for our first review to see if this was even feasible. So yes, the HOA and community have said that this trail is not used frequently. So the financial costs to upkeep it just don't seem feasible or really reasonable, especially when there is so much trail still to be left.
Yeah, and I see that, so back to that one that we're doing, we did the same thing, long trail, and it was popular in the beginning. And then after that, really nobody was using it. It wasn't abandoned, but I feel like it would almost be the same here. And with that long piece still left, I mean, I don't see an issue myself with abandoning that. I feel like they probably don't even use it when it's in good condition.
Thank you. Mike, any comments?
No, my only was just going to make sure the HOA was on board with it. And if they're on board with it and there's obviously issues, then I'm all set.
Thank you, Marcy.
So I kind of agree. I'm just curious, should we be in the middle of this conversation? I understand it was part of the approval, but it doesn't sound like Plan and Zoning necessarily has been getting involved when other properties have chosen to sort of abandon a piece of the trail or abandon the entire trail. And I just don't know if we want to set a precedent by sort of even discussing it, or just say to them, don't ask, don't tell kind of thing. So I'll throw that out there. I don't know what the right answer is, but it just seems like, why are we, are we just going to give them an opinion or a thought or?
Yeah. Well, I'll just say it was part of the original approval, and it's not before us as a proper application. It's before you as planners report to keep you all informed and to make sure that, there's no major concerns or other thoughts or perspectives that town staff hasn't had in the review of this, which is why I'm bringing it forward informally.
Okay.
We think it's fine, but we would, I'm just here presenting some of the other happenings around town and things that if you guys think we're going rogue or whatnot, allowing part of this trail to be abandoned, then please speak up. But if there are no real concerns, we can just move forward.
Good. Okay.
One other thing I would say is this piece is actually one that we got approved years ago, and my uncle is the one that built it. A trail like that, it's not the town that asks. In that particular case, I don't believe it was the town. That's something that we thought they would use, and we learned over the years that they really don't. I don't know if that makes a difference. I guess, set precedents. I would imagine as they come forward, we can make. Would it set precedent if we were to leave it at the staff level, but then something else like this came in, we could always ask and have them come before us, correct?
Absolutely. This is, we try to look at each issue, or I don't want to call it an application because it's not an application, but each site on its own individual scale and context changes and times change. So we can always reassess how we handle these sorts of things. But for this situation, we felt that this was a fine way to handle it.
Yeah, and I agree. Again, just knowing the history of these types of things, it's not, it'd be one thing if they wanted to get rid of the sidewalk in front of their house, but this type of thing ends up on the plan and we want it approved by the town. And then after that, it's almost like it is part of the plan. But again, the intent of it at the time, it was more of a developer pushed thing, not a town pushed thing, I guess.
Thank you. Since we all went through this, Keith, we'll just finish it up with questions. Keith, do you want to comment? I don't want to.
I only had one silly question, which was, I see where the two blue lines end. I assume that those meet up with sidewalks inside the community.
Yes, this is the cul-de-sac here, and this is the road over on.
No one will get stuck at the end of a dead end, so.
No one wants that.
Works for me, yeah.
And John?
No, I'll, as long as this trail wasn't part of a critical element of the approval, I don't have any problem at all with it being abandoned.
Thank you. And Scott?
Nope, I'm all good. Ditto what everybody else said.
All right. And they are maintaining, like there won't be garbage or anything in there.
Yeah, look at their trail close sign.
Okay, all right, good. All right.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Yeah, as long as
They're maintaining
yeah,
the blue part.
perfect. Awesome. Thank you for letting us know.
Yep.
Anything else very exciting going on?
That concludes the planner's report this evening.
Okay, we're almost at the end. Thank you, Catherine. We need to make a motion for the minutes. We need a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Hi.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, you can get this one. Thanks.
Thanks. I move to approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I second Keith Hibbert.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Woo-hoo. Okay, we're good. Unless anyone has any other questions, we can adjourn the meeting. Anything? We're good?
Good job, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Oh my gosh,
Excellent.
yeah, thank you. Everyone, thank you. It was a big village effort here. All right, meeting adjourned, 8:42. Thank you everyone for your help.